2008 in Arunachal Pradesh. At a height of 12,000 feet, a military camp and a road was being built for the Indian Army. A worker working there walked to the local market. After buying what he needed, he started going back up to the military camp before dark. Many hours pass, but he doesn't reach the military camp. There was no sign of him the whole night. The next day, a local man passes by on the same path with his horse. He spots the lost worker beside the road. He was sitting awkwardly. The local thought that the worker was perhaps drunk. He called out to the worker, but he doesn't respond. Eventually, when he approached him, he noticed that the worker's neck was broken and he wasn't breathing. He was dead. His phone and money were on the ground near him. This wouldn't have been a robbery or an attack because his valuables were lying there. Had this been a robbery, they wouldn't have left them behind. It didn't seem like his neck was broken due to an accident. Had there been an accident, his body would have been on the ground. But his body was propped up awkwardly. There were no other marks on his body except his broken neck. Later, when doctors saw the corpse, they said that the damage to the neck cannot be easily caused by a human, because it would require a lot of force. It wouldn't have been caused by a wild animal because there were no claw marks on the corpse. There were no wounds or bleeding, only the broken neck which led to his death. Locals claims that the police found a hair on the corpse. This strand of hair was checked. It belonged to neither a human nor an animal. The police found a footprint too, which made the locals say that it was the footprint of the Yeti. Locals claim that the place where this road was being built, Yeti used to frequent this area. They believe that the worker was killed by a Yeti.
ये मेरे को पता था कितनी ह्यूज फाइंड है. ये आज तक किसी ने नहीं देखा. We were the first guys ever.
Fast forward 11 years from this incident. 29th April 2019. The Indian Army tweets from its Twitter handle. For the first time, an Indian Army mountaineering expedition team claimed to have seen the footprints of the mythical beast, Yeti. These were 32 inches long and 15 inches wide. On 9th April 2019, these were seen near the Makalu base camp in Nepal. Before this, Yeti had only been seen in the Makalu Barun National Park. The Indian Army said that the evidence had been photographed and handed over to the subject matter experts for scientific evaluation. But is it real? You must have come across mentions of Yeti on social media. But is there any scientific proof of Yeti's existence? Is it really a mystical beast or just a misunderstood animal? Friends, let's find out the truth behind this mysterious Yeti in this video.
Yeti या Yeti. आपने एक Yeti का footprint देखा है.
Incredible claim by a respected Oxford researcher. He says he is proof that the Yeti, the abominable snowman of the Himalayas, is in fact real.
The most famous story regarding Yeti is from 1951. British mountaineer Eric Shipton and with him surgeon Michael Ward were looking for an alternative way to climb Mount Everest. They spotted footprints amidst the snow at Melung Glacier, 13 inches long and 8 inches wide. They looked similar to human feet, but they were much bigger. Eric did not have any equipment to measure the footprint, so he placed his axe beside it and took these pictures. In 1951, the US and Nepal government came together to make some regulations. There were three main points. First, Nepal's government wanted to make some money from this. They charged a royalty fee of 5,000 Indian rupees for a permit to look for Yeti. Second, hunting Yeti was banned. Killing it as an act of self-defense was excusable, but they weren't allowed to actively hunt it. Nepal's government allowed them to catch Yeti alive, but any captured Yeti had to be surrendered to Nepal's government. Third, all reports related to Yeti's existence was supposed to be given to Nepal's government first, and the government permission was mandatory before handing those over to the press. Strong regulations indeed. But the most amazing thing was, Nepal government wasn't really sure about Yeti's existence. One of the reasons for making these regulations was that the Nepali and American governments thought that the Yeti could be real. Even after passing these government regulations, many people went to Nepal and carried out numerous expeditions. But there were three such explorers who deserved to be mentioned. These men tried their best to discover the truth about Yeti. First was Irish-American explorer Peter Byrne. In his search for Yeti, he was part of 5 expeditions and spent a total of 38 months in the Himalayas. During these expeditions, he went to Pangbok Buddhist Monastery too, located at an altitude of 13,000 feet, that claims to have the remains of Yeti's hands and skull. For research, he asked for the Yeti's hand from the lamas at the monastery, but his request was refused, saying that doing so would bring bad luck to the monastery. Peter tried his best to convince the lamas, and in exchange for a donation, he finally got a finger from the remains of Yeti's hand. He came to India with this finger, and with the help of his friend, actor James Stewart, he smuggled it into London. James Stewart's wife, Gloria, hid this finger in her lingerie bag and carried it to the London. In London, Professor William Osman Hill analyzed this finger and found that it wasn't a Yeti's finger, it was a human's. The second explorer was Italy's legendary climber Reinhold Messner. He is considered to be the world's greatest mountaineer alive. Before 1986, in his book, Reinhold denied Yeti's existence, calling it nonsensical. He didn't believe that any such creature existed. But one evening in 1986, something happened that changed his belief. He was following an old Tibetan path used by Sherpas and got lost. There he came across a big and dark creature. He saw it standing upright and running faster than humans and jumping from one tree to another. Reinhold says that at one point it was only 10 steps away from him. It stood there unmoving before suddenly disappearing, and it was about 7 feet tall. And friends, after this encounter, Reinhold became obsessed with Yeti. The Yeti whose existence he used to deny, he spent 12 years looking for it. And what was his conclusion? He said that there are no Yetis. There are no human-like snowman living in the mountains. He said that Yeti is nothing but a Himalayan brown bear. Before talking further about this, let's talk about the third explorer, Daniel C. Taylor. This American man wrote the book Yeti, the Ecology of a Mystery. He too spent many years of his life looking for Yeti. He was specially focused on Nepal's Barun Valley. It was a dense forest and gets a lot of rain. This forest is so dense that only a few people have entered it. Nepal's king advised Daniel Taylor that if he wants to find Yeti, that he should search this forest. When he got there, he saw fresh footprints. These footprints convinced him that he had found a Yeti. But alas, there wasn't Yeti's footprints, they belonged to a bear. A tree bear. During their research, he found that these footprints had nails marks too. Hominoids do not have such nails. So he concluded that these footprints had to belong to an animal. To find out which animal it was, he started looking for nests that were suspected to be Yeti's lair. There he found a hair strand, and running a DNA analysis of it revealed the entire truth. This hair belonged to a special species of bear known as the Ruk Balu in Nepali and as tree bear in English. He explained this famous photo taken by Eric Shipton in 1951. He said that while walking, these bears always place their hind legs on the footprints of the front leg. This makes it look like the animal that left those footprints must have walked on 2 legs instead of 4. Today there is no mystery anymore. We don't hear about Yeti sightings anymore. Think about it. We live in the era of smartphones. Over the last 10 to 15 years, almost every person has a smartphone. Every person is carrying a camera. So many people live in Tibet, Nepal and the Himalayas. Had there really been something like a Yeti, we would have taken at least one photograph. What do you think, friends? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, you will like this one too. Click on this link below to watch the next video. And if you're new to my channel, please do consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching the full video. This is Shayog, signing off.